works, in holiness, in love, in compassion, in mercy. Oh, all of those other things are important, coming to church, giving, etc., but that's not the evidence of genuine salvation. That's not the evidence that James presents to his readers. He presents new attitudes, new affections, new desires. So genuine faith is not merely a verbal profession. Don't feel comfortable. Don't feel at ease just because you can say, I am a Christian. I have faith in God. There are people who can say that, but they don't have works. And their faith is not genuine according to James. Genuine faith is not merely carrying words. James brings this out in verses 15 through 17 with an illustration. Remember, James loves illustrations. He loves pictures. And so that's what he does in verses 15 through 17. He gives us an illustration. He says, if a brother or sister, so as he presents them, he presents it as a brother, a Christian brother, or a Christian sister. He says, if a brother or sister is without clothing and in need of daily food, when he makes that statement, even though he started off with them separately, they're really together. He's imagining a Christian brother and a Christian sister, possibly a Christian husband and a Christian wife. And what is their circumstances? What is their situation? They're without clothing. Not that they're naked, but they don't have the sufficient clothing for that occasion, that day. It might be cold outside, but they don't have enough clothes to keep them warm. They're without clothing. Not only are they without clothing, they're in need of some food. They're hungry. Daily food, not food for next week or next month or next year. This is daily food. It's like in that disciples were, give us our bread, our daily bread. So no, here's somebody who doesn't have the necessary food. They're hungry. Not only are they hungry, but they're cold. And in verse 16, James includes his readers in the picture. Here's a Christian brother, a Christian sister without clothing and necessary food. And he says in verse 16, and one of you. That's what he's, one of you. You who are reading this book, you who are listening, one of you. James not saying one of those on the outside. He's saying one of my Christian readers, one of you, says to them. And what do they say? Go in peace. Be warm. I noticed that you didn't have proper clothing. Be warmed. I noticed you were hungry and you didn't have enough food. Be filled. Nice sounding words to those in need. Caring words. My wife and I might have used this illustration before, but I'll use it again, but my wife and I, we lived in Denver, Colorado. And there are times where the weather in Denver was brutal. And I just imagine that it's one of those brutal days where it's cold, where it's snowing. But on the inside, we got the heat on. It's blazing. It's 80 degrees on the inside, but 7 degrees on the outside. It's so warm on the inside that we're in our shorts and t-shirts, and we're at the dinner table. And my wife has made some fried chicken, some greens, some rice and gravy, and it's a good meal. And I'm eating the favorite part of the chicken that I like, the breast, and I peel that skin off, and put the skin in my mouth and just savor it. And the grease from the chicken skin is on my hands. And then lo and behold, I'm a pastor, and so people do show up when you don't expect them, but the doorbell rings. And we're right in the middle of a good meal, and I just say to the family, I'll get it. So as I'm going to the door, still licking my fingers, tasting that grease from the skin, I answer the door, and lo and behold, there's a couple from the church. And it's clear that as I look at them, that this is not normal. So I invite them in. I don't invite them all the way in, just into the entryway. And they're shivering because it's cold out there. It's brutal out there. It's so cold, there's a little frost on the inside of their nose. That's how cold it is. And they're hungry, and they share with me. And I'm still kind of, trying to get the stuff off my hands because I'm going to pray for them. And that's what I do. So let me pray for you. God is sovereign. God is in control. He'll make a way. And so I say, may God's peace be with you as you go. Trust God. He'll provide you with the proper clothing. Be warmed. That is, let somebody else warm you. Be filled. That chicken and rice and gravy that I'm eating, somebody will supply it for you. And James says, and yet, Pastor Paul, you do not provide them what is necessary for their body. And James raises the question, what use is that? What kind of compassion is that? What kind of love is that? When your brother, your sister is in real need, but you can come up with reasons why you can't bless them, even though you have the means. And all you can do is offer some pious words, some nice-sounding words that have no action to them. Go in peace, be warm, be filled. God will take care of you, but I won't. And James says, what use is that? What kind of faith is that? When I see my brothers and sisters in need, when I see my brothers and sisters hurting, when there's a real need and all I can do is give them some nice-sounding, pious words. All I can do is say something that will justify me not responding to the need. All I can say are words of compassion, but no deeds of compassion. James says, what use is that? What good is that kind of faith? A faith that doesn't show mercy, a faith that doesn't show love and kindness toward others. So James said in verse 17, even so faith, if it has no works, is dead. That's a dead faith. To pray, God be with you. God's peace be yours. Be warmed and be filled, and yet you do not give them what is necessary for their body. That is a dead faith. That is a faith that will leave you dead in your trespasses and sin. That is a faith that will result in you hearing the words, I never knew you. Depart from me, you who practice lawlessness. Even so, faith, if it has no works, is dead. Why? Being by itself. I have faith, I have faith, I have faith, but that's all you got. It's by itself. It's not associated with good works. Good works, the documentation of genuine salvation, doesn't flow all that flows is what is true of those who are not saved. Genuine faith is not merely a verbal profession. And genuine faith is not even nice sounding words. It's not merely that. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have nice words and caring words, but God expects us to act. The counterpart to this is in 1 John chapter 3, verses 17 and 18, where John talks about you see your brother in need in the bowels of your compassion. You're getting ready to respond to that. They're rising up in you, and you're getting ready to respond, but you shut the door on them. Your compassion is compelling you to move, but you shut the door. And John says, all you're doing is loving in tongue. That's what we do. We love with the tongue. They'll lick people and love them with the tongue, but not in word and in deed. So John and James are saying the exact same thing. Genuine faith is not merely carrying words, but there's something else that James wants us to understand about genuine faith. What it's not. It's not merely intellectual assent. Genuine faith is not strictly what you know. You can know a whole lot, and you can be able to reason and argue and debate about who Jesus is and about this subject and that subject, and still be dead in your trespasses